investing in the fact that the American population always is an economic powerhouse. And it's funny because Bernanke, and this is kind of getting off on a total different world in real estate, but Bernanke has been, in my opinion, really trying to pull the dollar down as far as value goes, because he's been battling with China for so long with their low dollar, and them being able to take all of our jobs and then sell all the goods back to us at a really low import rate because their dollar is so low. And he's been trying to force them to bring their dollar up, and he can't do it. They're too big of an economy and they can do their own thing, and he can't do it. And capitalism, he can't stop capitalism from going over there and putting little China people to work. Can't happen. So his idea is to bring the dollar down in order to artificially bring the China dollar up. The problem is he ran into the European crisis, Greeks, all these other countries, Russia, all these other countries that are all in the same boat with China in imports and exports. And if the dollar comes down, all oil is denominated in U.S. dollars.
For now.
And they want to change that.
They want to change it. And that actually, if you go back and look at when we discovered the Gull Island up in Alaska, that's how we made the deal with the Saudis to say we would buy, if they sell all their oil in U.S. dollar, we wouldn't tap Gull Island in Alaska and flood the U.S. economy with oil, and we buy all our oil from them as long as they bought U.S. bonds. But that's a total different story. But they're trying to get rid of that policy.
They want international
China is
money
now
not to be the US
buying oil from Russia in Russian dollars. China just signed a deal with Japan to do all their commerce between each country and the Japanese yen. So there's a shift coming that if, this could all be mute if the U.S. dollar is not the world traded currency anymore.
Then it's $7 a gallon, guessing.
Well, and that causes inflation, which causes housing prices to rise. So
You'll be able to afford $7 now.
well, you have to sell your house and live in a 500 square foot place, but you'll be able to afford it.
And the Chinese came very late to the game to find out what all bankers know.
Absolutely.
When you owe the bank some money, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
When you owe the bank a lot of money, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you'll look again at this, the interest rate forecast, the very bottom paragraph above not perfect is going to tell you that Bernanke is the one thing that he has done as well is he's pushed the Fed toward greater openness at a faster pace than any of his predecessors, holding regular press conferences and providing forecasts on economic growth, unemployment, price increases. By providing interest rate projections, Bernanke intends to promote understanding of the Fed's aims and make the policy more effective. Just exactly, you would think that Todd and I really studied this together, but this is telling you that there's a lot of things going on. We're going to have a plan and we're going to have policy in place, but we have to let everybody know what's going on, because when a shift occurs, it's most important that we understand why they've made changes to the projected policy. And they've really got to be on top of their game, because we're on very shaky ground when it comes to that.
Yeah. They actually did it in the 1920s, during the Great Depression. They actually made it a law that U.S. citizens couldn't hold gold. And they basically made them turn it into the banks. And it was a policy. And they just, over time, over a couple of years, implemented this system. And as they brought all the gold back in, then they changed the price of gold, which lowered the purchasing power of the dollar, which balanced out the system again, and they were able to turn it and have economic boom again. But they told everybody what they were doing, but they didn't have the internet back then. They had newspapers that traveled really, really slow. So it's going to be extremely interesting as this change happens, because the internet makes things happen so much faster. And
but do y'all see that basically everything that's being discussed here, if you can education is power. If you can make people understand what's going on in your marketing campaign, would they not list with you, and would they not buy with you?
Absolutely right. So does everybody, I mean, are we in a consensus that we think we're going towards a balanced market?
Yes.
I mean, obviously anything world globally could throw that out of whack, but if appreciation happens because of supply and demand, and then what he suggested is beyond that, appreciation happens because of inflation. I think it's pretty safe to say that anything that happens globally that throws everything out of whack is going to cause an inflationary period here probably. And if nothing goes out of whack, we're going to have inflation because they're going to have to pay off some of the debt. They're going to have to find a way to get the money to do that. And the way to do it is to take it out of the American citizens by having higher interest rates, and that's how they get money in. So I think the market's getting ready to turn. One way or the other, we're getting ready to see, we always see these graphs that go like this.
And it's an election year.
And I think it's going to, the election year may or may not play directly into the housing market change, because I think supply and demand actually has more effect on the housing market than elections. But it may affect the inflationary period we're coming up on. And that's going to then affect the housing market.
But regardless of what any of that does, we're making more people.
Exactly, we got more people.
We're making,
And the same number of houses.
yeah. So at some point, regardless of that, there's gonna have to be places for these people to be.
Absolutely.
Whether it's in their own house or renting.
They're going to somewhere, even a rental house, they're going to have an investor to buy it.
Exactly right.
I mean, even if they can't afford to be in their own house, they got to live somewhere.
Got nervous.
Does something to you, huh?
He does. He does.
You didn't get your shoes, did they?
Probably.
Normally I get a
She has helped me many times. One time she got me with 2 Cosmos in one night.
Wow.
You make her nervous.
Apparently.
It is, but I always talk with my hands, and kittens happen to be sitting next to me.
I didn't know you were part-time.
Close to you.
You notice how far away I sat from her today? It still didn't do any good. She walked all the way up here to get me.
She had you targeted.
That was great info.
Yeah.
Very, very
It's
good.
but it is amazing, and it's like totally different research, and it's telling you exactly the same thing.
Well, what I find amazing is I don't hear this on NBC, CBS. I mean, you don't hear it anywhere.
Can I tell you something? Talk to some people internationally.
I know.
We've got
They all
friends
know
in the area.
it. We have friends in Spain, we have friends in other places.
Mhm.
They've been talking to us about this
It's
for
true.
the last 6 months.
Really?
And they
They
told
know.
us this was gonna happen, and we just been sitting here saying, they are absolutely right. The rest of the world knows what's coming down.
Mhm.
And they're trying to keep it as quiet as they can in some respects, but Europe is in deep.
Absolutely. Mhm. They are. I do honestly fear if the euro fails, the U.S. dollar is going to be in a lot of trouble. I really do. I know the money flows into the U.S. dollar, but we're not in a whole lot better shape than Europe is.
No,
We owe more debt than we have.
that's
GDP.
exactly right.
I mean, everybody's economy.
It's not isolated anymore.
Yeah, it's not, they're all connected,
Exactly.
so one having a problem is going to greatly affect everyone else.
Mhm.
Especially when countries are going bankrupt.
Mhm. Right, because those countries buy products.
Look at how small Greece is.
Really?
Yeah.
Greece had an overwhelming effect on the world economy.
Because they owed everybody money.
Right. And those people aren't going to get paid.
It's like having 16 rental houses and none of them have anybody in them.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's not so good to be a renter.
You're dead.
You're
Yeah.
toast. And I lived that
Mhm.
many years ago. And I had friends that were going bankrupt. They had $200,000 salaries, and they couldn't afford to meet their 7 rental homes that were $2,000 a piece. And now, all of a sudden,
No
these
renters.
people, they were $14,000 a month underwater.
Right.
Because they still had to make the payments on the homes. For a while there, they were doing great because they were in a positive cash flow situation on 7 homes. It was one friend of mine. And all of a sudden, the guy was bankrupt with a $200,000 salary, and he lived in a $1,200 a month house himself.
Yeah.
And all of a
But
sudden,
this is what you're seeing. There are not, it's difficult for investors to purchase homes.
Yep.
all right.
Okay? They have got a lot of skin in the game.
Mhm.
but
It didn't used to
rentals
be that way.
are up.
Right.
So
Rental
people have
prices
the
are.
ability to hold on to the rentals.
Yeah. Well, the rental prices are going up because of supply and demand too.
Right.
I mean, I'm feeling that. I got a house up in Safety we just put on the market, and I've had people in there for 5 years. I really didn't even know what the market was for it, but we put it out there a little higher than, what I thought it was, and we're getting calls on it. It's not rented yet, but I was surprised we're even getting calls, to be honest with you. Because there's just not, the reason we put it higher is because I looked at it, there were only 3 houses that were available.
Right, they can get it.
You know?
I'm sure Todd's probably gotten some of the same responses we have too, for years and years and years in real estate, through the ups and down cycles. What I have always observed is when the real estate investors come down, it's very
Yeah.
close to the bottom.
Yeah.
We're getting calls from real estate, we're
Oh,
getting
that's
calls
right.
from builders and stuff that want us to find them a $50,000 lot, a $25,000 lot, or a $800 a month rental,
Mhm.
because they're getting ready, because they know there's
Yeah.
no homes on the market.
Exactly.
So they all want to get in position.
They know.
I don't know where they disappeared to,
Mhm.
but now they would like to come out of the woodwork.
The smart investors have been sitting in cash. I mean, they've been waiting for this market to turn so that they know that they're not going to buy and the house is going to depreciate. And they've been watching rent rates to figure out when the bottom is, and they've been sitting in cash.
But now they're
And
coming
this
out.
is going to cause
And
another
this is the
spur to the supply and demand equation that we haven't really thought about, because those investors don't have to live in that house. But they can buy 5 if they got the cash. And they can take 5 houses off the market of people that aren't buyers because they have to rent. They just can't buy, or they're transient, or they're not factoring into the supply and demand graph in any way whatsoever because they are not going to be a buyer. But if they buy 5 houses to put those people in, that decreases the inventory by 5. It increases the buy by 5.
Well, doesn't the fact that so many people's credit has been ruined, doesn't that
Affects rentals.
affect the whole rental
It
market
does.
too?
But they'll still be back by 2016.
No.